Good morning, students. Today we'll talk about white box testing. What is white box testing? A white box testing is a testing of software solutions, internal structure, design, and coding. In this type of testing, we test only the internal structure and the system and the process what we are adapting to implement the program. We'll check only that. It is also known as clear box testing, and it is also known as open box testing, or we can say the structural testing, or we can say the transparent testing, or we can say code based testing, or also we can say the glass box testing. So it is normally used or performed by developer only, because when a developer is developing the software, so it can be implement, or it can be tested at the time of development. Now the other part of this white box testing is, or we can say the other part of testing is the black box testing, that we'll discuss in the next lecture. Now we will see the what do we verify in white box testing. In white box testing involve the testing of the software code of the for the following. First of all, we can test in white box testing the internal security holes. We can test, or we have to test in white box testing the broken or poorly structured path in the coding process. Or in the white box testing, we have to check the flow of a specific input through the code, expected output, and the functionality of the conditional loops. And in white box testing, we can also check the testing of each statement, object, function of an individual basis. If you want to understand, the testing can be done at a system integration, or it can be also done at the unit level when we are developing the software. If you want to understand very well, we can see this video through which we can understand in a better way. Yes, we are looking at video now. Yes.
Box testing is the testing of a software solution's internal coding and infrastructure. It focuses primarily on strengthening security, the flow of inputs and outputs through the application, and improving design and usability. White box testing is also known as clear, open, structural, and glass box testing. It is one of two parts of the box testing approach of software testing. Its counterpart, black box testing, involves testing from an external or end-user type perspective. On the other hand, white box testing is based on the inner workings of an application and revolves around internal testing. The term white box was used because of the see-through box concept. The clear box or white box name symbolizes the ability to see through the software's outer shell or box into its inner workings. Likewise, the black box in black box testing symbolizes not being able to see the inner workings of the software, so that only the end user experience can be tested. What do you verify in white box testing? White box testing involves the testing of the software code for the following: internal security holes, broken or poorly structured paths in the coding processes, the flow of specific inputs through the code, expected output, the functionality of conditional loops, and testing of each statement, object, and function on an individual basis. White box testing involves checking a series of predefined inputs against expected or desired outputs, so that when a specific input does not result in the expected output, you have encountered a bug. How do you perform white box testing? To give you a simplified explanation of white box testing, we have divided it into two basic steps. Step 1. Understand the source code. The first thing a tester will do is learn and understand the source code of the application. Since white box testing involves the testing of the inner workings of an application, the tester must be very knowledgeable in the programming languages used in the applications they are testing. Step 2. Create test cases and execute. White box testing techniques. Code coverage analysis. It defines areas of a program that are not exercised by a set of test cases. Once gaps are identified, you create test cases to verify untested parts of code, thereby increasing the quality of the software product. Following our code coverage techniques. Statement coverage. This technique requires every possible statement in the code to be tested at least once during the testing process. Branch coverage. This technique checks every possible path, if, else, and other conditional loops of a software application. Apart from above, there are numerous coverage types, such as condition coverage, multiple condition coverage, path coverage, function coverage, etc. Each technique has its own merits and attempts to test or cover all parts of the software code. Using statement and branch coverage, you generally attain 80 to 90% code coverage, which is sufficient. Conclusion. White box testing can be quite complex. The complexity involved has a lot to do with the application being tested. A small application that performs a single, simple operation could be white box tested in a few minutes, with larger programming applications taking days, weeks, or even longer to fully test.
So we are seeing the white box testing through the video, and now we will how do you perform the white box testing. So simply there are two steps in if you want to perform the white box testing. Number one, understanding the source code. So first of all, we have to understand the source code, because we have to check whether what kind of language we are using, the we are using the proper syntax, and we are using all the things properly. That should be correct. And the second one, the create test cases and execute. Second one, we have to create the test cases and we have to execute those. Now we'll take the example of white box testing. Now you consider the following piece of code, where you can see in the program is a function print me, where two variables integer a and b are there. Now you can see the result is another integer variable, where the addition of a or b is stored in result variable. Now there are two statements, two conditional statements are there. If statement is there, if result is greater than 0, the print is positive, it will produce positive. If the it is less than 0, it will produce the negative. Okay, so now in this we have to check, the goal of white box testing is to verify the all the decision branches in the above program, loops and the statements in the code. To exercise the statement in the above code, the white box test cases would be, suppose a and b are equals to 1, then, and the, if suppose a is equals to minus 1 and b is equals to minus 3, then it will produce or it will check the complete code. So these are the things through which we can execute, or we can perform the white box testing. So this is the video for white box testing. Myself, HR Chaudhary, I am working as assistant professor in the department of CSE, Engineering College, Ajmer. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.